Hello, namaskar, vanakkam, sat sri akal. A very hearty good evening to all of you, my dear viewers. Welcome to Mana TV and Mana TV International. I am your host, Jyotsna Sharma, welcoming you to our brand new show, Community Special with Jyotsna. And I am very, very happy that we launched this brand new show. You understand, a community plays a very important role in upbringing people and their spirit and sentiments in taking care of them and bringing out the best in them. And Mana TV took the privilege to launch this show where we would be connecting with our community and we'll talk to people from different arenas. We'll talk about different topics that would relate to your lifestyle, health, fitness, interest, entertainment, talent, and you name it, and current affairs for sure. When we are taking this step, the world is seeing a wide change. A complete holistic change is happening in the whole universe or whole world right now. The change happened because of an invisible entity, a virus not seen by common eyes, a virus so deadly that has taken thousands of lives and has affected millions of people. Today, the whole scenario has changed. People, the way they work, their mode of work has changed. I work for Mana TV, and Mana TV Studios also took a shift. The change happened when we came to our home studios to do our shows. And that's the effort we took when we are doing this show today also. Well, because coronavirus or say COVID-19 has become of great concern, we thought of launching our brand new show with a special topic, a topic that would inspire you and motivate you to the level that you would learn a lot of good things at the same time when you're fighting against this virus. This could only happen when we could share some great stories with you, stories that could motivate and inspire you to stay healthy and fight it out together against this virus. Today's topic relates to the COVID survivors, those warriors who fought it well against this disease and came up healthy back again into their lives. And then that's where we are starting off with our new show where we have two esteemed guests with me right now. They are the COVID-19 survivors, very, very enterprising. One of my guests is a obstetrician and gynecologist, OBGYN by profession, a doctor herself. Unfortunately, she got it, but she gave a tough fight against COVID and she became a winner there. At the same time, I have another guest who is a community leader, a person who believes in yogic kriyas, meditation, and a lot of other things. He also got it and fought it wonderfully. These two stories will give you a motivation that would relate to your life and everything that goes on. Well, now, without much ado, I will give a full description of my guest. Yes, my first guest is Dr. Hetal Gor. She is a board certified OBGYN practicing in Englewood, New Jersey. She has her own medical talk show that she's been doing since 2010. And she also has a political radio show. She has won multiple awards on Top Doc, Top 10 GYN surgeon, gynecologist surgeons, and she has got some Compassionate Doctor Awards, Patient Choice Award, International Women Award for Balancing Career and Family, International Academy Award 2017, NBSP Rising Star Award, Nari Udyami Award. She has authored multiple articles on WebMD and peer journals. She was also instrumental in starting free healthcare in Bergen County, health fairs in Bergen County, and she sits on the multiple nonprofit and charitable organizations. She is the medical director and owner of Better You Medical Spa, CEO of Health Media LLC, and medical director of Women's Own OBGYN. Dr. Gor sits on New Jersey's statewide advisory commission on minority and multicultural health. Dr. Gor is the president, founder of US chapter of Federation of OBGYN Society of India. Such a brilliant profile, and we have our guest here. Dr. Gor, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Jyotsna, for having me on Mana TV. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I have we have our another guest, Mr. Pramod Bhagat. He is a community leader, and Pramod ji also heads an organization which is named as Pramod ji, namaskar.
India World Foundations.
India World Foundation. And Pramod ji, what is India World Foundation all about? Generally, I would like to know.
basically, this is an organization, charitable organizations working for the humanity without caste, creed, and religion. Not for human, for the creatures. And many works we are doing with the UNICEF and trying here in US and trying to be help our community as on a humanity basis that we are working. And as a by profession, I'm a software professional for last 20 years working at Wall Street areas for many corporates, and now I'm working with the hedge fund side.
Excellent, excellent.
And thank you, Manna TV, just connecting me to share about my story that helps many more people, and I'm always ready to help them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Gor, and thank you so much, Bhagatji. The thing is, we want to bring the real stories. I know there is one side of the medicine, allopathy, and there is another side of the Ayurveda or the yoga or our primitive ways as the Indian scriptures speak about. And there is a contrast between both of you, my guests here, when I will be talking to you and, reveal what all happened with you and how you will fully succeeded against this disease, So Dr. Gor, first of all, from a doctor's perspective, I would want you to speak a little bit about coronavirus as such and the pandemic as it has happened for my audience to understand the basics and nitty-gritty of the disease and how it has evolved as a virus. While our perception of this virus were different, now that 2 months down the line, everything is changing. So just give us a little insight and then we'll take your story and Mr. Pramod Bhagat's story.
So as we all know, coronavirus is a novel coronavirus. Coronavirus is a group of virus, right? So this virus has been in existence for some time, but this is a different version of the virus. And that's why it's called COVID-19. In 2019, there was an outbreak. So that's why it's called COVID-19. It's a RNA-based viruses are RNA-based. So what happens by themselves, they can't multiply. They have to attach to a host cells and where the RNA enters into the host cells and then they start dividing it. So what we know right now can change, right? What we knew in February, what we knew in March to April, there's a big mystery because this virus can mutate. The virus is having not just the respiratory complication that we knew before. Now we know that it has hematological complication. It has GI complications, central nervous system, even skin complications. So we're learning more and more about this virus. But one thing we know that it's a highly contagious virus. That means that if you come across anybody who has the virus, it's very easy to transmit it. It's also droplet. That means when we speak, there are droplets which come out of our mouth. And that's why we keep the 2-meter distance. But also the small particles stay in the air. And that's how it can transmit. It also transmits through touching, right? You touch your nose or your mouth, and then you touch other person, so it can get transmitted. And also there's something what we call as fecal-oral transmission, that the virus can be shedded in the feces, and then if it gets contaminated to the oral intake, it can get transmitted. So that's all we know right now, but the knowledge is ever changing.
Nice. Thank you so much for those inputs. So, Dr. Gor, what exactly happened with you? I know you've been dealing with patients overall, all these months. And of course, it might have come as a shock to you or as an expected situation that, yeah, you might get it.
So it's, as we've been reading about it. And I've been talking about it in radio and news even since early February, talking about this virus. And that time it had just started coming up in Europe from China. We had not an official case even in US at that point, and the cases were just starting to come up and being diagnosed as COVID at that point. So I had some idea about it, and we knew that it's going to become widespread because the way it was transmitting in Italy and Spain, we kind of had this little heads up that this virus can get really contagious and transmit very quickly. What we didn't know how contagious it was, right? So initially WHO said that it was only through droplet. So knowing all that and working with patients, right? When we work in hospital or our own clinic, as an OBGYN, we are very close proximity. We are checking patient's abdomen, we are doing the, the breast exams, we are in very close proximity. Even during surgery, we are in an enclosed space doing surgery, where we are breathing the same air. Or during delivery, we are pushing with the patient for hours in a small confined area. So I knew that we were at risk, but we took all our precautions. But this happens, and that's kind of like a job hazard, right? We have as a physician, that we sometimes put ourselves in a situation of danger.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the beauty of this profession, that, you have to face it, and then you have to help the humanity, the people at large. And there is a lot of sacrifice coming. In fact, there are so many fatalities amongst the healthcare workers in the doctor fraternity. And I mean, this job is irreplaceable, and I mean, the best of the talent has been lost due to this disease. And we are forever thankful to the, entire community, the doctors and the healthcare workers otherwise, and the entire frontline people, whether it is the people in the, law, management, administration, or people who are feeding us through the grocery stores and everything. So, yep, we understand. I mean, you are the people who face it, and yeah, that's where it is. So, Dr. Gaur, thank you for those inputs. And I will ask about other things from you. At the same time, Pramodji, tell us about yourself. How did you get it? What exactly happened from the normal lifestyle? Of course, Dr. Gaur is prone to get exposed to people. What was your case? You said you are an IT professional. So it's more about your, your computer. You have to stay wherever you are. How did you get it?
Thank you, Jyotsna ji. My story is totally different. On 13th of March, I think, is the lockdown is started, evening time, complete lockdown. Then Sunday on March 15th, I went to the Costco to just get all my stuff stored. And on that day, I got exposed.
Oh my God.
Because the last 10 days before the 15th, I was not going anywhere. And after 15th, I didn't go anywhere. So that is the only place I got exposed. And then afterward, I got the symptom on 19th, on Thursday. Throat infection, body ache, and fever.
What kind of throat infection was that? I mean, generally, to be more specific.
Just like a itching in a throat. And and plus fever 102, 103 fever. Then I thought something is wrong, but I didn't thought about I have a COVID, and didn't believe on that. But the first thing what I did, I just moved myself from first floor to basement. First, I saved my family. Absolutely. And then tried to find the doctors around, but I couldn't find it for 3 days, and my situation was going more and more worse. And then finally on Monday, I reached to my PCP, Dr. Patrick Burns, and he suggested took my test, and came the result after 36 hours is positive. And I was just only on Tanol because my doctor has suggested he's not able to give, straight away he told me, hydroxychloroquine, I'm not going to give you because this is not going to work, because it's not suggestible, whatever their feedbacks are. And just a Tanol to just keep fever reduced, and take the warm water as much as. So I was taking every hour warm water, and then slowly I get more sick. My power, energy level is totally lost, almost like a 80%, 85%, not able to even walk around. It's very tough to just hold the wall and go. And
oh my God.
And then I called the doctor, what I do, but they said, I cannot give you if you want to, if you have a short of breath, go to the hospital, take the ventilator, and there you can get the hydroxychloroquine. Then my other doctor friends, they said, Mr. Bhagat, I can arrange for you, but according to the situation, according to their whatever the base of the knowledge, they said, better don't take it. So only that was, then I just moved to the naturopathy, and then I was hearing the positive news from Dr. Haswardhan and many our yoga gurus. And in my childhood time, I was also yoga instructor for many years. So, but in America in last 20 years, I totally, not used it, but that was in my DNA since long time. Then I just moved to that part. That was only I had a solution at my hand. One way to try to save the family also. Okay, only I will fight. I'm not going to be transmitted to my family and my society. And another way, how to keep it fit. Because energy level is reducing down.
Right.
Yeah, this is my situation, and then I'll go for in further details.
Well, definitely, absolutely. I have a lot of curiosity there. Well, people क्या कहते हैं घर पे जब होते हैं तो किस तरह से थोड़े से हकीम खुद बन जाएं अपने लिए और जान बचा ले जब हालात थोड़े डिफरेंट हों और पता लगे कि सिर्फ टाइलेनॉल से गुजारा चलाना है तो we understand where we end up exactly. And Indian Ayurvedic treasure is far and wide one of
Yep.
the best treasures as such. So I'm pretty sure. Let's explore that. Dr. Gaur, I'll come to you now. So what happened exactly with you? How did you come across with the symptoms and all that? When did you got to know that you have got the infection?
I think it was around the same time as Pramodji. I got it. First, I started with feeling very weak and tired, like no energy, like I got very exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
It lasted for 2-3 days, and then I had little nausea, I had little diarrhea, so I thought maybe I was coming down with some bug. And then I lost a sense of smell, sense of taste. So the total days, around 3 to 5 days, this happened. And then I got fever, then coughing, dry cough, like really hacking cough, as we call in medical terminology, and shortness of breath. I just couldn't breathe. When I took then, I had access to a lot of monitors and stuff. So my temperature was 103, 104. My pulse was 140. The oxygen level was around 94, going down sometimes to 92, 93. At that point, I was very determined. I didn't want to go to the hospital. I didn't want to go to the ER. I really wanted to stay home because, as what I had learned from research from before, that there's no definite treatment as such, right? And if the oxygen level goes down, then they would put a tube inside. And I really didn't want a tube. So I was supposed to go to India. So I had some hydroxychloroquine with me. And so I started taking it. As soon as I got fever, I took it, because even right now there is a lot of controversy. So I want to make sure that people don't take this as a medical advice. This is it worked in my case. So I started taking hydroxychloroquine, and after 3 days my fever went down. But I was in such a bad shape, I couldn't even go for testing, or I couldn't even call anybody. My husband is a physician. He was overwhelmed with work because he was frontline doctor. So he was at work. The kids were amazing. They really took over the household work. They prepared. They would give me hot, because there's no appetite. So I couldn't eat for 2-3 days, but they would at least put like a hot water with lemon and ginger in it and leave it outside my bedroom. So I carried on for a few days like that. Once I had my husband took me, we have a testing site in a hospital. So we drive through that, because I said, if I'll go to the ER, they are going to admit me. So I didn't want to go through the ER. And I did the testing on the 3rd and 4th day after I started the chloroquine, because it was centralized swab. So the swabs had to go to CDC. And so it took like 7 days for me to get the result. So from the time I had the symptom to the time I actually got the report, it was already 10 to 14 days. By then I was already started feeling. But because I was a physician, I knew that this was COVID. I didn't have to wait for the test to come, and I started the medication.
In fact, you had a timely medication, because you could take hydroxychloroquine on time. And by the time the results came, you were there. Looks like
almost done with my treatment.
I mean, that was a blessing. And for sure, I believe the way we have lost lives, or the way the cases have gone critical, is the testing speed was less. I mean, the way people were tested, or the gap in between. I must tell you, this breathlessness is just, I mean, it is so scary and so dangerous. I mean, how could somebody wait for 5 days if that situation comes up? And yes, there is a sentiment, a public sentiment, where people are fearing or scaring to go to hospitals. Reason being, they feel once we are going to hospitals, probably we are not coming back. 80% of us think we would not make it back. I mean, there have been unfortunate cases where there had been no symptom in people. And on a shortest notice, where one young lady, I mean, she was not that old, only 50, in her 50s, she reported of breathlessness, and she goes to hospital. After 4 hours, she's declared dead. So these things, are very scary, and somewhere public feels we don't want to go to hospital till the last moment. because we really don't know what's going to happen. That's the end of our life, looks like.
But that's also, I want to correct. So I want to make sure people do understand. In my case, being a physician, my husband being a physician, we kind of knew what to look for, what were the bad critical signs. So I could ride it through, but I would not tell everybody to do that, because
Absolutely.
if you can't breathe, if you have high fever, if your heart rate is going up, and you feel very confused, little drowsy, please call your doctor or go to the nearest emergency room. You really don't want to wait till it is, because as you rightly said, the critical time is initial phase, right? A lot of complications have happened when people have waited too long, or the testing was not done, because initially they would not take anybody without, if they have high grade fever, cough,
Right.
for testing. So people did not get tested, and if they didn't get tested, they were not being seen. So there was a lot of lag. And if you let the cytokine, right, so when the blood cells are attacked by the virus, there is some release of what we call as cytokines. That high level of cytokines does the damage. If your lungs are already damaged with the cytokines, it's very difficult then to get the lung function back, right? So I was lucky enough to take the medication as soon as I had fever, and I feel like that helped me. But 70% to 80% of the people will get better. So that's a good part about this disease, that even though we hear about the death and a lot of complicated cases, 70 to 80% of the people will have a good outcome, right? There will be lots and lots of people we are going to see now when we'll do more and more testing. They were what we call as asymptomatic carrier. They hardly had any symptoms, or they had little body ache here and there. And if we'll do their swabs, they are going to be positive. So that's a good thing. 70 to 80% of the people are going to do better. 8 to 9% of the people might need really severe cases and hospitalization, intubation, and around 3 to 2% are having a mortality death.
Perfect. Thank you so much for those inputs, Dr. Gor. I mean, they play an important role in understanding a general public sentiment and, the kind of trust they should see in doctors and the medical facilities once they reach there. So, yeah, I mean, from a commoner's perspective, common man's perspective, I was talking. So, Pramod Bhagat ji, I have some questions from you also now that you were cured at home. You did not go to hospital at all, right?
Yes, correct.
So you were taking only Tylenol. What were the other parallel things that you were consuming?
Well, for last 15 years, I didn't took any Tylenol, and then 4 hours, every 4 hours I was taking. But after 3 days, I got done. I had a lot of pressures on my chest, and then acidity problems, and and the side effect of the Tylenol. Then and everywhere the positive news from Health Minister of India, many doctors here and many places. Just when I was listening there, whatever their ideas and whatever their research and whatever their inventions, then realize at this time we don't have anything in allopathy medical science. Baba Ramdev, many yoga instructors, they have their own. And then I have a little DNA of a yoga instructor when I was in India, 5-6 years. But I was not regular here. But then afterward, when Dr. Hasvardhan introduced to the nation of 145 crores of India, he told we have only two vaccination. One is a social distancing, another one is a increase your immune to fight. Fight word is only the one medicine I have. So then I went for that way. And then my all doctor friends, Dr. Sudhir Parikh, he was like my elder brother. He was guiding me since morning, evening, and answer was only I get the ventilator. Hydroxychloroquine, no. I got the azithromycin also in down of my treatment. That made me more problems. And then my doctor Perk has told me, let's stop it. And so then what I did, because everybody was ready to send me, because now I categorize this is on three situations, three stages. First stage is a minor situation where you get the feel of like a little body ache, fever of 102, 103 fever. And second stage is chest pain and short of breath. So first and second stage, definitely if we fight with this COVID-19, that will definitely, whatever I have used it, I can, because it's all I tried on myself. It's I can say 19.99% people can get out if they don't have any like a diabetic, another problems,
Yeah.
definitely they will come out. And this is totally tested on me. And
Right.
then because only the difference with the hospital and my last remedy is only 2 to 3 hours, because everybody in my home is ready to be just call the 911 to just send him to hospital, because everybody is trying, they're on tough time. And then I did the Kunjal Kriya. That is a yoga is saying Kunjal Kriya, but normal life he was saying bring vomiting.
Oh,
Vomiting.
Kunjal is a normal, you vomit out
Normal
everything?
life people are saying vomiting
Uh-huh.
karna, or to,
Uh-huh.
and everybody knows all the kids they born after they give a lot of milks, the little bit just they pull them around and they
So
just they throw.
why do you feel that vomiting out would help when
Because
people
I
are,
was, yeah,
no,
because I was
generally
not,
people are left with less energy.
yes, because
So when you're vomiting, you're completely taking your prana out for once.
yes, you are right. Basically, no yoga, no pranayam, no exercise at this time, because almost 80 to 90% energy is lost.
Uh,
Try to only love to sleep on a bed. And this COVID always love let the patient get sleep, and that way he just attack more and more.
right, right, right.
And Mr. Chris Kumo is another journalist of CNN. They also mentioned fight, don't sleep.
That is true. That is
If
true.
if you if you let it down, they will put you in down. So let it fight. Put the COVID down. So that's the way, the only area. And then I was trying to be get more positive, start listening all the negative side, people death, all the information. And then Dr. Hasvardhan stayed with their indication to the whole nation. Then I understood only the way to go to the yoga. But what yoga? Because energy is lost. Then I got the instruction from my Guru Ashram, Bihar School of Yoga. Swami Nijanand Saraswati is my Guru Bhai, and my Guru Swami Satyanand Saraswati, Swamiji took the Samadhi many years back. So my dad has called to the ashram, and then he just suggested and then I took the risk of took the Kunjal. Kunjal is a very small, very it's not a very complicated situation, but still we need to be take some small instruction like from the experts. I took the 6 to 7 glass of water in the early morning with the salted water, one
Okay.
spoon of salt with the 6 glass of hot water, and drink it immediately. And went to the bathroom, and in the sink I put my ring finger and middle finger into my tongue, the back of the tongue. Just I press, and then
So
all my
basically, yeah, you're vomiting it out. Now the
vomiting
concern
it
is,
out. That's a kunjal, and then all the red plasma, bloods, dead bloods, tissues, and water mix. It all came from
so
inside.
Pramodji, I will stop you here a little bit with one question that I will ask Dr. Hetal Gor rather. Dr. Gor, while Pramodji says that he did a Kunjal Kriya with salt water, he drank almost 5 to 6 glasses of water, right, before doing this Kriya. And of course, he's vomiting it out. But don't you think, Pramodji Abhi, don't you think that when this much of salt water goes inside, it will have some side effects? I mean, I understand we are vomiting it out, but still something would not work out for people. There are people with high blood pressure, or there are some kidney, patients. I mean, Dr. Gaur, what do you have to say? I mean, generally trying to explore there, because this is something we have never known about, that consuming salt water and then doing it. So generally curious from a doctor's perspective. And Pramodji, then I'll come to you on this. Thank you.
So, with all due respect, I think there is a lot of knowledge in yogis and a lot of yogic methods of doing things, but not everything is suitable for everybody, right? As you rightly said, if somebody has high blood pressure, if somebody has heart problems, somebody has kidney problems, drinking salt water is not good, right? It increases the amount of sodium, it increases the amount of chloride in you. Now, act of vomiting, what happens when you vomit yourself out? You're not only losing fluid through that, but also you're losing potassium, which is a good an acid from your stomach. So it can cause severe dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, and multiple other severe complications. People can have heart problems, arrhythmias, heart attacks, as well as stroke, right? Because the water is getting retained. So I would say that it's good to know all this, but I think one has to be quite knowledgeable in depth to do such a thing, or has to have a right yogi or right guide to kind of guide them through. That would be my advice. I think even like what I mentioned about hydroxychloroquine, it's not for everybody, because even hydroxychloroquine has its own side effects, and people have had cardiac issue. What we call is elongation of QT interval, and if they take Zithromax with it, those cardiac toxicity go up. So we all have to be careful. There's all this knowledge or our experiences are not for everybody. This is what worked for some, doesn't work for all. You still have, this is not a replacement for medical advice.
Perfect. Thank you so much for those inputs. So Pramodji, yes. Now, so for you, it was successful doing the Kunjal Kriya, as you said, right?
Yes.
Assuming.
I will, what I'll say, because I know that whatever Dr. Hetal said, definitely I'm totally agreeing with Dr. Hetal, with due respect. Basically, when we don't have any option, hospital is in a very tough situation. Only ventilator is available, no medicine available. And my situation was either one way to go to the graveyard, another way is to be do something. And definitely the Kunjal Kriya having a need some instruction for diabetic patient, heart patient having some stomach problem like ulcer. They need to be some guidance. They don't need to be use the salted water. They drink the only plain hot water. And usually the habits, all the gurus and all the people around, they say, when we drink the water, please sit one place and take the water. But in this situation, just stand up straight, take the 6 glass of water straight, and then go to the bathroom and put it, just put it out, throw it out with the what the I mentioned that. And that way, whatever the dirt inside, just like a red water is it was coming from my stomach and my chest, what were the congestion, that was all that cell. And then afterward, because I didn't have even 10%, 15% capacity to take the air oxygens. The reason was when I was taking, looks like somebody is just like choke my throat, and my chest was having a severe pain, not able to sleep, not able to say. And then I took the chance because I knew about the whole things, because my childhood time I was doing it a lot. And India also is a very popular, and who's a person who's doing the yoga. And then it worked really well, and 30% I got recovered at the same time, and 99 my temperatures came out. And another was Giloy and Tulsi tablets. I know the last 2-3 months, Baba Ramdev and many yoga gurus and many Ayurveda gurus, and they all are saying. And then I called India and many our friends and family. They say, "Oh, this is a very simple thing we had in our self." And then they all are using for chikungunya, dengue, many like a virus infections, because if you research about the Giloy, it's a fever reducer like a Tylenol, or there is no side effect.
Right.
And then I got it luckily because I didn't have it at my home.
So there is no side effect for Giloy. I mean, Giloy ki pravritti jo hai, the temperament for Giloy, is it a hot temperament medicine? Garmi lati hai sharir mein. What is the basic thing? I mean, when you speak about Giloy?
Giloy immune ko badhata hai. It increases the immune, and plus fever reducer is better, works more than the paracetamol and in India and here in China. There is no side effect, and there is other many is the properties of Giloy that if we Google it, I'm going to try to share everybody, and then that's why it's very popular in India. That's why in India mortality rate you see on a TV, and there people they have a dadi nani ke nukse kada. Otherwise, Modi ji is saying, our honorable PM, kada and take the hot water. Now you understand wherever he got all the like a feedback, and Dr. Hasvardhan is also giving 2 signals. Even though he's a doctor, he's a thousand doctors, and of the country he's guiding, and then he's just saying only 2 things. This is 2, vaccination you have. So now that is a clear inductions. He cannot talk about the Ayurveda side, but he just said the straight instruction to the whole humanity. Let's save yourself, increase the immune, and these 2 things is worked. And I'll say first stage, second stage, definitely, if somebody will take. And now 100 of doctors, my friend, they're asking, Bhagat, let's you arrange it. I will also help you out to bring. And it is a pretty easy.
All right.
Yes.
Getting it. Thank you for those inputs, Pramodji. Now there is a thing you spoke of, Kunjal Kriya. Now, Dr. Gor, I will ask you one particular question. When we speak about some breathing exercises, and in Ayurveda, I mean in pranayam technique, there is Anulom Vilom is the nasal breathing. And then there is a deep breathing exercises. I don't know what to name it exactly. So there are certain breathing exercises that people are doing. What from a doctor's perspective, from medical terminology perspective or medical professions perspective, these kind of breathing exercises, do they help?
Absolutely. So what we do with a different pranayam and different breathing exercises, what we teach here is called a physical therapy, right? Different kinds of exercises for breathing, like when you hurt your back, you do different exercises to strengthen the muscle. So same way, they teach you deep breathing here. We have what's called a spirometer. So there is a meter. If anybody has surgery, after the surgery, we give people like a machine to breathe, and that ball has to go up. What is it? It's like when you push, right, you're increasing your lung capacity, right? You take a deep breath and then you're pushing that air out, and how much air went in, you see it by the ball rising. Those are some exercises we teach here to kind of improve the lung function. I definitely, when I was really sick, now only way for me to do my own lung treatment or help was because I refused to go to the hospital. I just wanted to be in my home with the loved ones, because the problem with this disease is that you can't have your loved ones come and visit you. People, unfortunately, when they are dying, they can't meet their loved ones, and that's the most, as a healthcare worker, this is the most depressing part. We've seen people dying, but then they are surrounded by their friends and family, and they are dying in peace. Or people can even do like a funeral, and people can come and give their last respects. In this disease, because it's so infective and contagious, we can't let anybody go through that, right? So people are dying alone, and that is their fear, right? Just to be alone with nobody there. So that's why I could monitor myself, but I was a little bit very skeptical about going to the hospital. So all I did was do deep breathing, holding my breath for a few seconds as much as I could, because as you can understand, we're very, very weak at that point. I was like a fish without water. I was gasping for air, right? Somebody who has asthma can completely correlate. Like when you have really bad asthma attack, you're gasping for air. You feel like you're going to die. Now you have no energy at that point to do too much of any exercise. But lying on your stomach, what happens? Your stomach presses, and that apparently expands the lungs, and it has helped. Some people sleeping in prone position has helped. Deep breathing has helped. So I would just take deep breath. I would stretch my hands so it increased the lung and chest capacity, and take some few breaths. Whenever I would get up to go to the bathroom, I would do those few exercises. But it is tough. It's definitely tough when you are really, really sick. To do those gets a little harder. As far as the other Ayurveda thing, I think we all believe in it. Especially turmeric has been scientifically proven as well to increase the immunity, right? We've given it in patients with immunological disorders, cancer, and it has shown to reduce the number of growth of the cancer cells. So from the beginning, from February, I was taking, hot water with, I had made this turmeric, ginger, I had grated all that with lemon and little pepper. I was drinking it every day. But as a healthcare professional, we are exposed to so much of what we call as viral load. We are having so many people with so much amount of virus. Our immunity itself might not be able to prevent it. So it's good to do all that. It's good to do eating avla, eating tulsi. All that is not a bad thing. But at certain point, it might not, it's not 100%, prevention. It cannot,
Absolutely.
certain people will get disease, and we have to treat it then.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those inputs, Dr. Gor, because that's where we are, I mean, when we speak about the community, when I speak about Indian American community, we have our roots there, and somewhere I believe maybe that adds to our immunity. Of course, there is turmeric in our food predominantly. There is ginger, there is garlic, and honey and lemon, as you said. So if I were to ask you from a perspective from a physician's perspective, what are the precautions people should take at home, in the sense when a patient is at home? Now, situation has happened in such a way that most of the patients are staying put at home. And when we stay in a home, and specifically say, supposedly, if it happens to the lady of the house, they cook, they do all the chores in the house, and it becomes impossible, next to impossible, to not go to your kitchen area to, not touch anything. How do you
Correct.
demarcate those lines? I mean, your inputs would play a very important role from a practical perspective where somebody is at home, is sick, and we have to avoid this infection to other family members. What are the particular points and agendas that we keep in mind, and then seclude that person and put that person in quarantine in house?
So I'll come to that question in a second, but before, you just said something, and I want to elaborate on that point, that we as an Indian American community, we have all this spices already in our day-to-day, meal, which is a great thing. But apart from that, you grew up in India, we were exposed to a lot of viruses. So there are
Right.
certain theories also that we might be a little bit more able to take this immunity in a better way, because we were exposed to so many viruses in as a kid. So we have general immunity as such. There's some theory about BCG vaccine that we got as a child. Does it have any protective effect? So we still don't know. We still have some, research to be done. But it seems like maybe the virus in India is not as deadly as the virus here, because we know the virus has mutated going from China to Italy to here, because presentation and mortalities are different. Is the
Right.
genetic or the race play a role, right? Like why Italians were so very, very sick compared to, say, other places. So there's so much we don't know, but whatever we are doing, let's continue doing it. Now, you brought in a very social point, because women are the heart and soul of a household, right? And if the woman collapses, what happens? Now, in my case, I was very lucky because I have older kids. My kids are 21, 18, and 16, so they didn't need me on an everyday basis. And when I was really sick, and my husband, he still like goes to the hospital 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, comes home for a few hours, takes shower, takes 5-6 hours of sleep, and he's back to work. So in that situation, the kids took over, right? They started cooking, and they were like taking care of the household, because I was not in any condition to call anybody and say anything. And the kids said, we'll manage. As and when the friends started, hearing, all my, friends from the neighborhood started bringing some food and all. But that's very important, that a community as such, we come together and help somebody that we know that, somebody in their household is sick. But what do we do? So please isolate yourself. Even if you are a woman or a man, or if you are sick, or even if you have fever and cough, before you get diagnosed, start isolating. That means stay in one room. If you don't have a room per se, then make sure either the younger kids or the elderly in the household goes to your friends or neighbor's house. That way you're not exposing the vulnerable people in your house. Try to have your own bathroom if it's possible, that way, because there's some fecal-oral contamination, touching the doorknobs, etc. Also you can contaminate. So if you don't, then clean all the surfaces you touch, right? Every doorknob, every computer, all your cell phones, all the keychains, common areas, start cleaning it. Wear mask, so that way you will reduce the amount of exposure. If you can't be contained to one room, everybody in the household should wear some mask. If you can't be contained to one room, so at least for 14 days you should take that kind of precautions. Wearing mask, washing hands as often, wearing gloves if you are touching, keep different utensils like your vessels, everything should be separate. And other thing, I have a lot of friends in the same situation, and I tell them, listen, if your laundry doesn't get done for 10 days, don't worry. If your sink is filled with vessels, don't worry. If your kids have to eat rice and dal every day, don't worry. We're all going to make it. Your health is fine. So this is not the time to, worry about like, oh, who's going to do my laundry and who's going to. Try to relax. Try to take care of your health first. It's like when you're traveling in airplane, what do they say? If the oxygen level goes down, first you take oxygen and then give it to your child or your neighbor.
Right.
If you are not going to survive, you're not going to take that oxygen, how are you going to help your others, right? If
Absolutely.
you keep working and you get sick,
Right.
you not only have exposed your family to the virus, but you've made yourself sicker. And now who's going to take care of each other? So isolate, quarantine, mask, 14 days, don't come out or communicate, in person. And we have now phones. You can call from your room to the kitchen, the thing, or you can FaceTime with your kids and help them out. So there is a lot of creative ways you can communicate.
Very, very nice inputs. Thank you so much, Dr. Gaur, for them. And yes, this was from, of course, from a woman's perspective, and from perspective who's fallen sick at home. These things count a lot. And about the groceries, I mean, there is a lot of, hearsay going on. Different perspectives, how to clean your groceries. There was a doctor's video going viral where he was literally washing everything with the soap water. And what is your take on the groceries, specifically the vegetables and fruits? I mean, there are certain fruits and vegetables, they cannot be washed with any kind of thing. There are statements going in saying, okay, dip them in vinegar with hot water, or dip them with baking soda with hot water. These are certain important things we need to have inputs. What is your belief on them? I mean, what do you feel?
So scientifically, right, whatever we do, there has to be some evidence of doing it, right?
Right.
Or certain times what we do is what we call as anecdotally. That means what we know from the past experience, what works. So as far as the grocery goes, what I've been telling all my friends and patients and relatives is that make a list of what you actually need, right? That way you're not walking around the whole corridors thinking, oh, maybe I need this. You have in your head what you need. So make a list, go with the list, wear a mask, wear a glove, and also what you touch, you pick that up. Don't touch 10,000 things that you're not going to need it, right? So that way you limit your amount of time inside any grocery store, because you really don't want to expose, as I said, that it travels through droplets and air. You don't want to be in that small shop or warehouses and taking things and spending lots and lots of time. So wear your mask, wear your gloves when you enter or you're touching the doors and the carts. If you don't have access to gloves, then take sanitizing wipes and wipe all the areas that you are touching, and use the hand sanitizer. After that, you can make homemade masks are good enough. So wear that mask. Of course, if you have surgical mask and other grade N95 and above, it's great. But if you don't, even like just regular mask is good enough, or a bandana is good enough. Now, so once you've done the grocery, once you've done it, make sure you don't take 10,000 things out, right? Keep touching your cell phones, your car keys, your car knobs to the minimum, and wipe them after you've touched it, right?
Right.
So that way everything is clean. Now, I know exactly what you mean about different videos for this. You might not have to go as crazy. What I do is when the groceries come, we empty it in one area, and then I take some Clorox wipes and wipe off all the plastics or boxes which are there from outside. As far as the vegetable is concerned, I would say that anyway you should wash most of your vegetables and fruits, right? So those things you should wash it and then store it inside. Certain vegetables and all, like say banana, since you're not going to eat the peel, you don't have to go crazy of washing it, right? Just peel the banana without touching the inside, eat the banana. Afterwards, when you throw it, wash your hands.
Sorry to interrupt there. When we speak about washing the vegetables, are you speaking just wash them just in plain water, or maybe the hot water? Nothing.
Exactly,
no
because 20 seconds washing your hands is good enough, correct? So if you put your say potatoes, your apples and grapes, 20 seconds in a hot water is more than enough.
Okay, there's no need of soap. I mean, we definitely wash our hands with soap for 20 seconds when we do that, right?
No, there's no, only warm water is going to kill the virus. And the reason being, because if you're going to put some of those frozen things, because the virus can stay in freezer for a long time. So that's why it's important to wipe those plastic surfaces. Okay. So virus is lasting long time on the plastics and on the cardboard. So those surfaces you should clean. But the vegetables and all, if you wash it for 20 to 30 seconds in hot water, there's no need for vinegar. There's no need to add soda bicarb. Just hot water is going to kill the bacteria if you leave it for 20 to 30 seconds.
Thank you for those inputs, Dr. Gaur. And Pramodji, with you, I have some more questions from the perspective of Ayurveda, from the perspective of your pranayama, level of healing and all. So you were at home, and you said you shifted to your basement, and were there. About fresh air going in, right? So you were in the basement, and you were doing everything there only. Did you go out to breathe fresh air also? I mean, this pranayama, yogic kriyas do ask for some fresh air. What's the perspective?
Jyotsna ji, thank you. This question is, I know, very, I like this question. And first of all, before this, I know Dr. Hetal, I'm totally agreeing with her, whatever she has mentioned, need to be follow. And then I know there is two emotional prospect, one from the patient side, because they want to save their families. And from the family side, they want to see the patient. And there is two emotional talk only on phone. I want to see you. And then patient is saying, no, please don't come close to me. And then
Absolutely.
supply of all the hot water in every hours, because there is no no hungriness, and then hungerness, and then plus you don't have a sort of a, like a taste, sweet or salt, and no smelling power. So basically, a lot of scary stuff. So whatever CS suggested, definitely we all have, is a really thumb rule we have to manage. And emotional part also, because if you go to the hospital, always the scary part is, if I'm not going to come, my family not going to see me the last time. And that's all of many things. So definitely, Dr. Hetal Gor, whatever she has mentioned, I know this is a very important part. And whatever the question from my side, my basement is a walk-in basement with the window.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to get all, but first 10 days I didn't have energy to go out to just look the sun and air, and temperature also is, it was not very good at that time. That way I can go, after 11, 12 days, I have a little strength develop, and then I was walking around, but alone completely. And for the pranayama, there is almost more than 30 types of pranayama, but the mostly five popular pranayama is Kapalbhati. We take all the breath inside, and with the whole force we are just sending it out. That is a Kapalbhati. Brastika pranayama is we are taking the force take inside the capacity, and this and the same speed we are just throwing it out. That is a Brastika. And then Kapal, that is a Alom Bilom. That is a that's a we are taking from one nose with a normal speed, leaving it from the other nose. Same way from other nose, we are taking it, inhale it, and then put it out. That is a Nadi Shodhan. Nadi Shodhan means we are cleaning our system. We are generating the positiveness in our body. Then whole system is going to be go for the infection, go for the rogue, and the problem. So that is a techniques. And this is a very, because all the research came, because all the scientific team I'm talking about, a lot of AIMS doctor, many doctors came from America to the ashram where yogic science people are doing the research over there. So we are taking from the same nose, from right side, inhaling and then leaving, and then and same set we are doing from the left side. Second stage we are doing from one side, leaving to other side, and from taking from other side and leaving to the fourth side. And then and plus Brahmari pranayam. Brahmari pranayam is we are just generating the mantra om humming sound. We are close this one, and like this, put the mouth close. We have many other pranayams, but this 5 is enough.
Basically, you're speaking about when you are healthy, then you follow these 5 pranayama yogic kriyas.
Yes. My energy level was too low. I was slept almost for 2.5 hours just lying on a bed, because just trying to recover a little bit. And then when I came out, that was a miracle happened. And that miracle, 30-40%, I felt much better. My energy, my fevers came to 99. Then I was thinking to eat something. So that way, I took little more dalia on that day, and very happy.
Nice.
He looks much better that way. So basically, when we throw all the infections from inside to outside, then you need to be increase the immune. That time, chawanprash, haldi, turmeric with the milk, kada, tulsi and giloi. That is really is a ramban at this time to helping. These all was very important. And family support. If somebody is having a God gifted family support, that's we all have. It's a very important, because at least on phone we are asking each other how you are, because my wife also have a little symptom, but she say no, I don't have anything. And then she was fighting and always giving a boost to me. And then I was thinking, no, even I will go, because 50 years already done, but I don't want to be in fact my family and my society, because that is a responsibility part we all are playing, we are feeling about. And the night time is a dream, was like very positive funny dream, because we are doing a lot of like a mantra chanting, Sundarkand, Hanuman Chalisa, Mahamrityunjay mantra jap. So these all works very well. And plus friends like you, friends like many our friends, and I was really very, very fortunate. I got the many calls from my saints. They all love because they love me, and
That's very nice. I mean, that's the connectivity. The power of prayers also helps, the healing comes from distant places.
even
The
when I
hearts
heard
join
about Dr.
together.
Hetal, when I was say, oh, I was that doctor also, so let me pray for her also. That was my.
Honestly, we all prayed for all of you. Whenever we get to know somebody from our community is sick, and that sentiment flows. And when we know people, community leaders like you, there is a automatic system in the mind, that generates that positivity for the person who's ailing. Send the prayers to them. There have been, chanting groups. I mean, there are support groups people created who, there were
Yes.
ladies doing, you know, Hanuman Chalisa or other part or prayer chanting for people, Mahamrutyunjaya mantras and all. It's just a spirit, a community sentiment, basically. That's the beauty, our prayers really work there. And somewhere there is a strengthening. I mean, the person for whom it is done, that person also gets elevated, and they also feel that confidence that there are people, there are wishes behind, the blessing behind them. They have to fight it back, and they come back as a winner against this disease. And it is so wonderful to see both of you doing so well. Not even an inch I can make out that you were ever sick with such a dreaded disease. Of course, there is no cure, and still you just fought out. So it's very inspiring and motivating to see. Specifically, you both have a very different orientation of healing. Of course, it amalgamates in the end. Yoga and allopathy, or say the science of medicine, they all work together. And when it synchronizes together, with our descent being Indian Americans, that's the beauty. I believe our this race particularly will fight it out in a better way. And of course, as Dr. Gor spoke about BCG vaccines or the immunity that has been developed. And honestly speaking, on a lighter note, people, when they go to India or in our childhood, as many pani puris and dahi balla chaat we had in our lifetime, I think it has a protection. We got a Lakshman Rekha round about us. What, Hetal Gor, you have to speak about something about that thing?
Absolutely. I think just to add a point, like even scientifically, there have been studies done that people with cancer, the studies were done on cancer patient. When somebody prayed for those cancer patients, somebody who had this positive vibes and prayers done for people who were sick, they actually got better faster than somebody who didn't have it. We know from a lot of experimentation, like when you are watering the plants, if you talk to the plants, they do better. So all those positive vibes, definitely I could feel it. Like on my own, I might not have been, because the way I was very sick. To what I am now 1 month after that, I wouldn't have been here if it was not for all the positive vibes that came my way. So I think science, other sorts of alternative medicine, spirituality, prayers, these are like, all the different pillars which keeps our spirits up. So we need to keep all that in mind, in synchrony with each other.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pramodji, Dr. Gor.
And
For
I
your
also like to mention the very small thing, because that was when I was totally looks like in a tough time, like almost not 10% of the capacity to be take the oxygen, heart pain, and then night time I was not able to sleep, not able to sit on the chair. Then what I did the Yog Nidra. That's helped me a lot. That Yog Nidra, even our honorable Prime Minister also, he just tagged in his Twitter. But Swami Niranjan Suti, he's my Guru Bhai. And I learned those techniques when I was in India. And then I was doing it every day, my Guru's mantras, and plus that Yog Nidra for 42 minutes. Even Ivanka Trump also, he tracked that one. And, then I was thinking, this is not my body. I'm on my, and I was helped, like that positive energy, because if anybody do the Yog Nidra, it's a very powerful technique in this world for many things, for many. This is a whole scientific research, and that helped me a lot. And any information, anything regarding the whatever I did, tested on myself, I'm totally available with the Miss Jyotsna ji, and plus Manna TV. They can share my number, and I will try, as a social worker, my nature, I will try the humidity as much as possible. And definitely the both tablet Tulsi and Giloi, try to find in a Google, because a lot of many my doctor friends, they are also finding it, and they call me up, and then wherever, just save it for your family, because many ashrams in Sadhvi Ritamra ji, Didi ji has called me, she has received the blessing from her.
Very nice.
She told me the same message. In her ashram, hundred kids, they are taking the this Giloi and Tulsi for last 2 months every day. And I call to many family friends in India, everybody is having that. Because of 6-7 years, chikungunya, dengue, virus, many things happening, malaria in India. People are used to be use this Giloi, and just Google it about the Giloi. That helps for the really humanity. This revolution is ahead, is coming, and people are accepting it. Just please go with that. Two techniques is really working very well. Till this some vaccination will come out to the market, and in this whole world, to save the humanity and save the people, our people. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pramodji, for all the positivity and the power of Ayurveda and the healing through meditation that you are sharing here. That sends a very positive message to our audiences, and they learn.
Salute to all doctors. Is like a god, like a third stage. There is no first stage, second things is working. That time only they are helping to be come out from the
Absolutely,
ventilator.
absolutely.
So our doctors, allopathy doctors, is also, I know their research are not with their hand, they're but whatever they are doing, and a lot of people are coming from the ventilation also due to them.
Absolutely. There is no denying the fact, without the technology, the medicine, the proper medical, treatment, nothing can be achieved. And
So don't try to go for third level.
no, definitely.
Better do first and second level.
What you shared was more about developing an immunity in a person. A person's strength.
And fight like a lion, or just like our honorable PM is, he's a man. So that's how I know.
Thank you so much, Pramodji, for those inputs. And they count a lot. And having said that, Dr. Gor, of course, there are a lot of inputs. And I have one question from our Indian spices only. There is a spice by the name cinnamon, dalchini. And they say, what hearsay is like, messages circulating. My task is to clarify certain doubts and put the right science behind it. So some people are saying that cinnamon has some component of chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine rather, quinine. I don't know how much it is true or relatable, but they are saying drinking cinnamon water multiple times in a day, or say otherwise morning or night time, is healing, and green tea together. I need little inputs from you. I don't know. This, of course, it's not a prescription or anything, but do you feel that the dalchini or the cinnamon stick does carry some traits of this medicine?
So we don't know to be 100% sure, right? People are talking about tonic water, right? And there are stories about Tipu Sultan and tonic water and gin and tonic, how it came into. We know that tonic water has part of a quinine in it. So there is some truth to it, but I wouldn't say that it's a replacement for a treatment, as
Absolutely not.
Is like ginger, turmeric, lemon, warm water, kalonji. Some people were circulating that, amla, tulsi, all of these herbs and stuff. There are definitely some good therapeutic properties, right? A lot of medication actually that we use come from plants, and we've extracts of those medication are made into tablets.
Right.
So there is some healing power in all this, but we don't have any, to be honest, how much amount, how many times to be, because very few of these learned noble men are alive, and they are passing, whatever we have knowledge has been really commercialized by a lot of people. So I wouldn't believe that they can cure them, but definitely it can be an additive. As I said before, everything counts, right? Your blessing, your spirituality, your prayers, your medication. But I wouldn't just not rely on that. If I have high-grade fever and I'm short of breath, I don't think drinking cinnamon juice is going to help you at that point. So let's be just mindful of that and not overdo anything. I always is a very strong believer of nothing in excess, not even going to crazy diets or everything in moderation is important. So I feel all these products, all this natural waste, but don't go crazy. Don't drink something like 20 times in a day, because you're going to offset some balances, right? So
that's where your advice plays a very important role, because
I agree totally.
I mean, people are just experimenting everything that they have. They're experimenting whatever they're drinking or whatever they're doing.
Only one thing I'm going to
but I don't blame them, to be honest. Sorry, Pramod, 1 second. I wouldn't blame those people. I'm not putting anybody down, because when we don't have a cure, it's like somebody who's drowning. A small piece of wood also looks really, optimistic, correct? It's the same scenario when there is no, until now, we don't have, there are lots of treatment, interleukins, antiviral medication, plasma therapy, vaccine. There's so much, but there's not, still, we don't have a treatment which 100% works.
Right.
So anybody, if they think that, oh, this is giving them hope, I think sometimes that hope carries it, long way, but just don't overdo it.
Basically, I'm totally agreeing with Dr. Hetal, but the perspective I'm giving other perspective, because whatever our honorable PM has giving a sandesh to the whole country, that is the world, is getting all the feedback from the millions of doctors and our Ayush Mantralaya. So, and straightaway he suggested, please use the Kala, and whatever the suggestion has came to the Ayush Mantralaya, whatever the list they had given is circulated to all over the WhatsApp and many social medias and main medias. And there they mention about everything: cloves, cinnamon, what they're, like, just don't drink the just long water, 4 or 5 glass and get a big problem. So all the combinations is a very, whatever the best is tested by millions of people. And
in moderation, we pursue whatever it is. A glass here and there.
That's why the honorable PM just showed the Kala glass. That is a symbol to the whole country. And then, and didn't tell about the name of the XYZ organization. It stated Ayush Mantralaya website having all the detailed list.
That's nice. I mean, India definitely has.
That's why they're ahead. First, our peoples are ahead.
Ayurveda, it's India's this thing.
And also, Dr. Hasvardhan in his interview mentioned about take the Chyawanprash. Why you to get problem with the COVID right before?
Well, Chyawanprash, there are definitely, I mean, there are pros and cons of everything, even Chyawanprash, from terminology of science, there is lead component, they say, in Chyawanprash, could be dangerous,
There are a lot of high metals in Chyawanprash. There's lots and lots of high metals.
So that's the problem, it all depends body to body. And of course, again, it depends where we are being brought up, the country where we are, the environment plays a very important role, probably. That's where, but yes, these are important inputs, Pramodji, that you have shared with us, and Prime Minister Modi, Ayush Mantralaya and everything. Yes, of course, good messages from them are pouring in, and good example setting is happening for Indian
the third
audience.
Stage, whatever Dr. Hetal is suggesting, I'm also just dial the 911, go to the hospital.
No, definitely. So see, point is we just generally want to.
I think Dr. Hetal can share about that the Chicago research they have tried with the AIDS medicine to some patients and it get recovered. I don't know.
So correct. So the medication seems to be working pretty good, but it's on very selective cases, right? So a lot of medication have its risk and benefit. So it helps in, say, COVID, but then it might have its side effects. So it is meant for really sick people who are hospitalized. Right now, they are still trial. They did what's called compassionate trial, where they used it. Now they are doing a really head-to-head study. And it looks like the drug has good potential, but it's really for the sick people. Even plasma therapy looks like, even blocking the interleukin storm has a good treatment. So there are few treatments that look, but we still don't have a definite way that if we give this gets cured. No, we don't know yet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pramodji. Thank you so much, Dr. Gor, for your inputs today, for taking your time out. And I understand you are right now. Dr. Gor is sitting in her hospital room where she has spent this important time with us. And of course, this is for the good of the community, of the humanity, of the people who are watching us, and educating them in the right spirit. So that takes a big heart, to take that time out and join us. you both have taken your time out from your busy schedules. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Gor, all your points are worth noting. I'm pretty sure my audience will take cognizance of that. Pramodji, your points from Ayurvedic perspective, from the meditative perspective, are well taken in. And I believe the viewers will have their right combination of thinking, logical thinking to apply and, live in a healthy manner. This is the first series, community special, where we have come and we have spoken about successful COVID survivors here, right? You two are befitting examples, a great example, to begin with. But having said that, we will have multiple rounds and conversations off and on, because this disease isn't going away for some time, and I would be inviting a couple of more experts, you people again, check upon the situation. Dr. Gor, your inputs are again very, very important from a professional's perspective, and they count a lot. And thank you so much, both of you. Any final message you want to give? I'll give you a minute each, and we will close this session for today.
So my final thoughts are, even when the lockdown is lifted, when we start going out, please be mindful, right? Please wear your mask. Please don't go out if you don't have to. Avoid large gatherings. We have to avoid large gatherings for a long time to come. Try to limit the number of people, in a restaurants, in a open public places. Keep still physical and social distancing going. Those are the things. Wash hands, wear masks, stay safe, stay indoors, take care of the elderly and sick people. I think those things we still have to continue. That is going to change our way of life. It's going to change how we entertain, how we go around. I think we have to take this as eye-opening and change our ways.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gor. Pramodji?
Whatever Dr. Hetal has said, I'm totally endorsing. I'm not repeating same one. And top of that, fight like a tiger, and then win as a tiger. And only whatever she suggested, top of that, fight on initial stage, first or second stage, to not go in a worse situations, even though your testing is not going to happen, because I know this is a lot of rush time. So whatever the natural things Indian government, Ayush Mantralaya has suggested, whatever I have suggested is tested on me, and call me anytime. And please do those things, and definitely you'll be the winner like a tiger. And just live like a tiger, and let it down the COVID, not you. That is my
Thank you
message.
so much. Thank you so much to both of you. Community Special with me, with Jyotsna, will target all those topics that will be of your, interest, and that would relate to your day-to-day life. We want to bring value to programs where we are able to educate you, inspire you, entertain you, inform you, and motivate you. That was my first step. From home studio, we did it. If you feel any glitches here and there, pardon us. But the spirit of connectivity with you, for the good care of you, is there. And we will bring community leaders, good people for you each and every day, so that we live happily together and healthy together. Stay blessed, stay safe, stay at home. COVID will be beaten by the spirit and the sentiment of the public at large. Common sense thinking, even if the lockdown is uplifted, you still have to logically and reasonably think about what and how you have to take care of your life, and how you carry out your daily chores or activities which are outside home. We will win this battle, but with patience, with perseverance, and with lot of care for others. If you care for others, you will win. Don't feel that you are a powerful person, you are a young, energetic person, you will not get it, and don't infect others because of that. This was the day today when we spoke about the successful COVID-19 warriors. Our great guests, Dr. Hetal Gor and Mr. Pramod Bhagat. They both are very, very popular in the New Jersey areas. You can very well find them on the social media platforms. Dr. Gor is definitely a professional with a lot of platform that I introduced in the beginning. She is available, and just stay strong together. That's what I can say. And we will come back again with another edition of Community Special with Jyotsna. Till then, keep enjoying your life at home for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Jyotsna ji. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Hetal. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.